one of the ones that I was privileged and honored to be a part of was this 20-year-old Native man. His name was Isaac. On the last day of our revival, we had, a little bit of an extended altar call, considering this was the last time we were going to be there. Vern wanted to make sure that everyone had the opportunity to, as I tell our youth, make Jesus their boss. So I'm going to maybe embarrass one of our sisters here. So Amber is standing in the back, and she sees this young man, and she encourages some of the youth from Blue Baptist Church to kind of come around this young man and to begin to talk with him about the gospel, because she could sense that there was something brewing inside of him. And it was amazing. This group of 4 youth kids led this young man up to me at the front, and we all got to pray with him. We all got to speak the gospel to him. As far as I was able to tell, he understood what the gospel was, and he decided to follow Jesus. He decided to make Jesus his boss. Now, the Lord truly works in mysterious ways, because the reason he was there at all was from the advice of his brother, who wasn't there, by the way, who had told him, hey, Isaac, you need to not be going to a Mormon church. You need to be going to a Baptist church. So after he got saved and we were talking about the Bible, he was very preoccupied with getting a Baptist Bible, and a Baptist Bible, yeah. So one of the sweet ladies, the missionary, one of the missionaries that was planted there, their names were Sally and Jed, right? Jed, okay. And anyway, so Sally comes up to me, and she's writing everyone's information down, and she is able to explain to him that there's no Baptist Bible, but that it's just the Christian Bible. So we had a discussion about what Mormonism was and what Christianity was. We were able to explain to him the difference between the two. And finally, when it came time for him to get a Bible, because Sally, of course, was very intent, all right, we need to get you a Bible, there wasn't really a whole lot of time. So I was able to give him mine. Truly, what a wonderful opportunity it was. To not just share the gospel with him, but to give the gospel to them. To welcome our brother into the family of Christ with something so significant. I think as long as I live, I won't forget that experience. Because oftentimes, as Christians who live in the Bible Belt, really sharing the gospel is not something that is, can I say this, a big deal, right? We almost assume that everyone around us knows who Jesus is, what the gospel is. There's this built-in cultural expectation of okay, you understand at least, this much about the Bible. But to be able to tell someone who's had little to no experience with Jesus, who Jesus was, why he came and died for our sins, and that he didn't stay dead, and then present him with the living Word of God was truly an amazing experience, and one that I hope impacted Isaac more than it impacted me. So, thank you.
Well, I promise I won't go on very long, even though I could, as all of us could. I taught, I helped with another lady from Blue Baptist Church who first of all, thank you, Lord, but you're so perfect in putting people together. Her name was Kitty, and she loved on these kids, and I understand this is my group. As much as sometimes I feel like I want to pull my hair out, I said I love kids this age. So I was with 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and for whatever reason, I think a lot of times, I know that at green grass, is it green? I always want to say. Yes. Green, I just want to say, was it green tall grass? Because I can never remember which adjective it is. But anyway, at that particular community, they were kept, apparently there was a medicine man down the road that each house, and there was maybe 10 houses in this little community, each house was at odds with every other house. So that breaks down community. It also kept them, for whatever reason, from sending their children. There were a few, so we didn't have very many, but I kept telling myself, God only needs one. I mean, he's there for the one. I kept thinking that it's not about the numbers. It would have been fantastic if those had been there, but just one. If God makes a difference in that one, can start the revival in that community and within their people. And so we got more in that mentality. But we had one little boy. Well, it was a boy and his sister. And the little boy, both of them just grinned, very quiet, grinned about everything, just very sweet and happy and loving. And the little guy, I think he must have been 4th or 5th grade, but his speech was so poor that if you ask him a question, about 9 times out of 10, he would grin at you and just point at his sister, and therefore she just picked up and answered the question. Extremely hard to understand. But there was something that went on with a mouse. And I don't know the whole story, but there was a little field mouse, and the kids found it, and it was a whole big thing. And but anyway, the next day after that, Simon was the little boy. It was Simon and Anaya, and Simon was very concerned about what had happened with the mouse. And they said, well, they probably killed it. It was a mouse. And he didn't seem sad, but he seemed very, very concerned. And this smile that was just perpetually there. He said something to his sister, and the sister said, what did they do with it? And we said, well, it killed it. I'm sure they threw it away. And he said to Kitty, through her, he said, we eat those. And she said, trying not to show shock, she said, oh, you're kidding me, right? And you don't do that anyway. And he just stayed very stoic. And she said, do you cook them? And he goes, and I just, it was that, but that was just our little incident, just in those 2 children that we had at LaPlante. And there was that, and then another little boy that was just so very quiet, but so bright, so bright. And I just think these little ones, they're just etched, burned into my heart. And to pray that somebody in that community, then perhaps one of them, or perhaps one of the adults or something, brings that light into that. You know, the days that we did was Jesus heals. And we said, you know, we talked about physical healing, but I said, Jesus can heal anything in your life, bad things that are going on in your home, anything. Jesus can heal. Jesus heals. And Jesus provides was the next story, and Jesus gives. And he gave himself, and he'll provide. And I said, sometimes it seems hard, and we don't see provision, and we don't see that, but he does give it. And it's in ways sometimes that we don't expect it. But it's hard as a human being, you felt like you were trying to fill up a swimming pool with a teaspoon. But the power of God, by his word, and just taking the meager efforts that we were able to give and what he can do with that is truly the miracle of God. So I was so blessed to be a part of it, and thank all of you for making that possible as a church. It's such a gift.
Okay, where do I go? I know, fast. No. I want to start out when we got there. Like Kerri said, our hotel, we had an hour drive to get to where we were going to La Plante in the morning, or 30 minutes or so, whatever it was. And in getting there, Vern asked me to be observant to the needs of the area, mainly to the two missionaries that were there, and got to know Jeb really pretty good. And in observing, I mean, I would meet in my job, kind of, in the mornings was to be in the adult class. And unfortunately, we only had one man that came, and got to know. I can't remember his name. Vern got to know him pretty good, and he shared some things, and we come to learn about the community. There's three churches in that community. There's the Baptist Church, there's the Church of God, and then there's the that might have been what it was, but congregational. That's what the gentleman called it, congregational church. And the other thing that we learned, or that I observed, was that the Native Americans there relate certain things. If you want them to come to church, there's certain things that they kind of look forward to and all that. But that wasn't going on at that time there. Anyway, that going on being said, what I would like to share with you, the thing when I'm talking with Brother Jed, was he has reached out to different denominations. He's needing help in his little bitty church. And if you've seen Little House on the Prairie, you've seen his church. It's not much bigger than that. Matter of fact, all the churches are like that where we went. And out in the middle of nowhere, just kind of give that an idea. The poverty that these people live in is unbelievable. There is no businesses in the area, none. You have to drive many, many, many miles to even find a job. It's depressing. They just live out in the middle of nowhere. And like Kerri said, I can see that. You're going to scavenge for whatever food you can get, because the money they do get, from what I've learned, from government assistance, if you want to put it that way, goes on for meth and drugs, or drinking, and that's what they do, the adults. And the kids are left to fend for themselves, and it's mind-boggling. It's scary. One day we go to Eagle Butte, where we had our tent revival. First night, I'll never forget this, the first night, and this young girl, we're just getting started, and she's standing outside the fence on the sidewalk looking in, and I made an attempt to go talk to her. I got about as close as I am to you right now, and she ran. Did not want to be associated, I guess, with what was going on. But she was interested. She wanted to hear. You'd see that all the time. And I guarantee you, if we had other people up here, this is what they would share with you. I can only imagine when the cars, our kids, the youth, standing out there with signs, inviting people into the tent revival. And I can only imagine what kind of things, some joking things, maybe some things, horrible things being said to them and stuff like that. We have a couple in our church here, the Henleys. I wish they were up here right now. They could share a story where she went to a young girl's house to help get her permission to go to Falls Creek and the things that was going on in that house. It'd blow your mind. The people are so depressed. It's unbelievable. What I want to challenge our church with is the pastor needs help. I was telling you about this. Jeb's needing help. He's reached out to other denominations, congregations and stuff about if you see his church, the roof on it looks like it's ready to fall in, and he needs help. And he's asked. And so me and Vern's talked about it's not something we can just put down and go right now, but it's something we need to plan. Are we as a church willing to look in and helping this man that will tell you, he thinks he has his foot on the pulse, and he's got these people, and as they get to be adults, young adults, I'm talking 18, 19, 20-year-olds and on, they just turn their back. Up until that point, he thinks and then they just turn their back and walk away from him. The medicine man takes over and stuff. And so it hurts. But he's reached out to other congregations to help. We could go in. Can we go in and go back there and help paint his church, put a new roof on his church? We were such an inspiration to him and her when we were there to come and help. It was disappointing not to see an encouragement. Yeah, it was a disappointing that these communities would fight like that. Like Kerri said, at Greengrass, it was mind-boggling that each family, depending on who would show, I'm not sending my kid there or whatever. It was heartbreaking, and that's the kind of thing they live in. And then, I didn't even share about Eagle Butte. I'm trying to do this quick, and Kerri goes. But we go on me and Kerri and the Gravers, we had a little break between Greengrass and Eagle Butte, and so we took a little tour of the town, if you want to call it a town. It's sad. It's like, as I told somebody, you combine north side Tulsa, and I talk about north side, I'm talking the deep side of north side, I'm talking the McLean and Central high school areas. It's anything on the other side of Apache. It's the gang-related area of Tulsa. And then you go to the west side where Vern grew up, and it's the I'm not saying drugs and alcohol, but it's the poverty. If you go over in that area and the houses look like they're ready to fall down, and all you have to do is blow up. That's the whole Eagle Butte. It's like that. Me and Kerri go down the street, and here's these men sitting on the sidewalk, that little the sidewalk with concrete walls, and they're just sitting there, 3:30, 4:30, 5 o'clock, whatever it was, drinking their beers, other guys going to get more. That's the life they live there. And they don't know how to break it. Because if you talk to them, it's like Kerri said, Alex said, the white man's religion, they're done with it. That's what they'll tell you. And it's not the white man's religion, it's Jesus that they're rejecting, and they need help there. That's my challenge. I guarantee if other people got up here and talked, they would probably tell you the same thing. And so the challenge to this church is, hopefully I'm getting across, is we can go back there. What can we do? Can we go back there and help paint a little bitty church and put a new roof on it? Whatever they need to help to show to the love that Christ is for those people. That's the challenge that I want to share with you guys. It's there's work to be done there, and tough. It's not an easy thing. So that being said, that's all I want to share.
So, as you can tell, and like Roy said, I'm sure that others that had went on the mission trip with us would tell you the same thing. There is a desperate need to be met in this community. So, while we, consider what to do next for this community and for those missionaries up there who have given their lives to the cause of the gospel, when they could have easily picked up and gone somewhere else that would be more productive. They're fighting for Christ. I would ask that you guys would please join us in prayer for this community. The communities of LaPlante, Greengrass, and Eagle Butte are the 3 communities that we went to this week. There are many lost there that will go to hell if they do not hear the gospel of Jesus and accept him. The hardest part is honestly breaking down their walls and their misconceptions towards the gospel. And that takes time. Lots of time. Lots of relationship. So please pray with us and continue to lift these 3 communities up, LaPlante, Greengrass, and Eagle Butte, with us as we lift them up ourselves and ask that God would move in a great and mighty way for his glory. All right. With that wonderful, cheery note, we're going to bring the deacons down front here to take up the offering. As Vern has said over the last couple of weeks, one of the things that this tithe and offering has gone to has been to this missions trip, taking 1%, as he said, towards this cause, kind of tucking it away and putting it aside for mission trips, and then the other 9% goes towards the Baptist coalition, I guess, in our state. But speaking for myself, after seeing the desperate need in this community, I'm more ready to go on these mission trips.